Bandwidth for this podcast is brought to you by Ideate Software. Be sure to check out all of their great Revit applications designed to increase your productivity. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to another fantastic, fabulous, way cool, and all those other things you can think of to say about BIMThoughts. I'm your host, Bill DeBevick, and I'm joined by Dana DeFilippi and Carl Storms. We have a special guest today, Jisell Howe. She's the one that did that great, fantastic, way cool diagram on the Twitters that everyone has probably have seen by now. So Jisell, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
So excited to have you.
Well, I'm excited to be here, so.
Good. So you ready to define yourself?
Yeah, I am. Let me tell you something, guys. So I am someone who will never have their name spelled right on a Starbucks coffee cup. I am an introvert, a proud introvert. I'm a huge fan of Queen and Elton John. Wait, hold on. This is the BIMThoughts podcast. I thought this was the Random Thoughts podcast.
Oh no, this is BIMThoughts.
Okay. Yeah.
We usually get pretty random too, though.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. Especially when we get Dynamo in there, we use a lot of random stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I suppose you want to know like what I actually do for a living.
No, actually, I want to know what your Starbucks name is.
Oh, I've got about 50 different spellings. Like pick one.
Oh, you don't have like a completely different name for Starbucks?
No, I usually go through the drive-through. I say my name, and they're like, "How do I spell it?" And I just tell them, "Good luck."
You said, well, I say correctly.
Yeah. Yep. So I kind of gave up on that. So they just kind of put whatever on there. So
yeah.
What's the most common spelling, would you say?
The most common, it's usually, it has a couple Z's. It has maybe 3 different letters I don't recognize. I think someone's done like gazelle, like the animal. So so that has also happened. That's usually how it goes. I don't get offended. It's great.
Do you agree with the way that your mom spelled it, or do you wish she spelled it differently?
Well, I could go either way. I mean, it's kind of late now. But I'm fine with it. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah. All right. So now you get to define yourself.
Okay. So yeah, for a career or what I do for a living, I am the CAD administrator for a PEX piping manufacturing company called Uponor North America. It's based in Apple Valley, but there's companies like around the world in Europe and all that as well. But essentially what that is, it's a really hodgepodge role. I work in the design department of the manufacturer. So I am supporting all the designers with lots of different software platforms so they can design their projects with the products that the manufacturer manufactures. So a little bit of a mixed thing there. So I do that. And also at the same time, I do new product development projects, meaning when the manufacturer is launching a new like real life product, I get the fun task of creating the BIM and CAD content for that for customers. So it's a very flashy kind of role there. So that's kind of what I do during the day. That's what I do. Otherwise, I mean, I do a lot of different stuff, as you guys know, outside of work with the sketches and data visualizations and all that sort of stuff. So I do a little bit of everything, really.
Great. I'm sure, Dana, you have lots of questions.
Well, I was actually really interested when I saw that your title is CAD manager. It's rare to see that nowadays. But you go in there and you're like, I'm a CAD and BIM management professional, right? So you cover all your bases, I guess. But that is something, I guess that was handed to you, obviously. It's rare we get to choose our own titles.
Yeah. This role was it was kind of created from scratch, really, and it really evolved over time. So yeah, you see a lot of different roles these days. For me, I'm doing stuff outside of my role, like literally all the time. So I have a shirt that says CAD administrator because miracle worker is not an official job title. So I would have picked miracle worker, but
Nice.
they don't let you have that in a corporate environment. So I mean,
No, they don't.
So with all the hats you wear, what's the one that you prefer?
ooh, I like the new product development. That's my favorite because I actually work cross functionally at my company to be able to do this. So that means I'm interacting with like the marketing department. I'm interacting with engineering. I'm interacting with regulatory. I'm interacting with the design department themselves, and it's like this whole like cross functional effort to get the data plus the functionality requirements to build really sweet content, really. So it's kind of a complex deal. A lot of things can change as the project goes on. I mean, everything just kind of is up in the air until you get a launch date. So it's pretty exciting. It's complex, it's exciting. I mean, I interact with so many different people. I learn a lot. So that is definitely my favorite part.
It looks also within the last year, you started your own website,
That is correct.
The Musings of a Technologist.
Yep, yep. I did like a catch-all thing because part of the way here, even with the new product development, what I find fascinating is the data. So communicating insights with data, communicating to different audiences, getting stakeholder buy-in on projects. So I created a website to actually like write blog posts and things like that to show people how to visualize their data, because what I'm seeing in the construction industry is everyone's really excited about Power BI. They want just dashboards galore, and it's awesome. Gotta love it. But there are a lot of different best practices that could actually be implemented to help people actually gain insights better from their dashboards and where else they're viewing data. So I took it upon myself to learn Tableau, which is it's a high-end data visualization software. I learned a bit of Power BI as well, but I really like Tableau, and there's a whole data science community where we basically it's like an art and a science. You're learning how to visualize this stuff in ways that can improve data literacy and everything. And I want to take that and bring it back to the construction industry where we're trying to utilize all this stuff. So a lot of that gets housed on that website there. I put other random stuff there too, but that's kind of the main deal I got.
Cool. I've been playing with Tableau quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things I get to do at my day job is Tableau, and now I get to do Power BI, which is quite a change,
Yeah,
as you probably know.
it is different. I will admit, I got to give Power BI credit with some of the things that, like some of those custom visuals that I'm seeing, like that
Mm-hmm.
synoptic designer and everything for getting like Revit floor plans and stuff showing up in there. I have yet to get that to actually work for Tableau. Like it's just a different animal, So I'm a little envious of some of the custom visuals that the construction industry is seen to use with Power BI because it seems like everyone wants Power BI. So little envious of that, but Tableau, I feel like I can create a bunch of stuff. So
Right, and Tableau is much easier to share with your friends, I think.
yeah, yep, I've got a Tableau public profile, so I
Yeah,
save stuff on there. It's pretty sweet. I just like whatever I can create in there. I've made some sweet stuff, really. So I have yet to say the same about Power BI, honestly, but it is what it is.
yes. So do you use the Power BI server and all that other good stuff, or do you just use the cloud version?
Well, currently at my place, we don't have it like fully implemented to have like the server and all that stuff.
Oh,
So
okay.
if anything, I've got that it's standalone deal that I think you can save to like an online version or something. It's
Right,
similar to what I have for Tableau right now. It's Tableau Public, which is the free one. It's not
right,
because anything cool I want to do, I usually don't have a budget for. So free is the way to go.
right. Yes, once you get the on-prem server, it's going to change your life.
Really?
Power BI. Oh yeah,
Nice.
because you'll be able to link to any database you want.
Oh yeah, yeah. I played around with connecting a SQL database to it a while back because some of the software that we have, such as Trimble, that ties to a SQL database. So
Hmm.
I kind of wanted to go through the back door and see what I could connect up with that and see if we could get some insights there with what's getting taken off in the software there. So I
Right.
like the interconnectedness of the things. I find that exciting.
It is exciting. Some of the things that we do is we connect our Revit projects to our accounting software
Ah,
so that we can see who the project manager is, who's worked on the project, how much time, so on and so forth. So it helps inform us of of which projects are having performance issues, for example, and we can reach out to the project team and see if we can get that fixed so they can be a little bit more productive.
nice. I've seen
Yeah.
some templates for that because we have some tools internally, like the CTC Express tools. So
Hmm.
one of them is Hive, and they have that what is it, PAL, Project Activity Logger. I think that's what it stands for. I don't know.
Hmm.
Anyway, they came with a template for Power BI where you could connect that up and get insights with a Revit model. I've yet to really have time to play with it, really, but
Right.
it's cool though. I like connecting that stuff up. I wanted to see if I could connect it up to like let's say like Salesforce or something, for example, too, because we have that in our department, and just something to connect the things up to reduce manual entry would be sweet on projects, things like that. So that's the stuff I find fascinating with the whole thing.
That's a lot of fun. Carl, I'm sure you have a question.
I had one, and then Giselle answered it when she was answering one of your questions. She was
Oh.
talking about her Tableau experience, and I was going
Hmm.
to mention that I'd never worked with that because it's crazy expensive. And then I learned that there's a free version. I had no idea there was a free version of Tableau, just like there is with Power BI. So
Yep.
I've already learned new stuff already.
All right. Well, that's what I'm here for. So.
See, there you go. Now, it's something else that I will ask that I've seen some posts about. I've never had the opportunity to attend Midwest U, but I've seen the posts about your. I'm going to call them hockey cards because I'm up here in Canada, but your speaker trading cards, and I thought that was a
Yes.
brilliant idea.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I would be very happy to say more about that. So, business cards, I mean, they're okay, right? But speaker trading cards, what those are, they're basically it's like baseball cards, except the stats on them are like how many times you've contributed to the industry, and the picture on it is, of course, you, not like Kirby Puckett or whoever, but it would be you, and you trade them around. And the whole reasoning behind it is because I find public speaking to be just so amazing for like your career development, for your own personal goals. I'm a speaker at conferences such as Midwest U, Autodesk University. I do stuff at work every once in a while with that. But for the longest time when I was growing up, it was just so hard for me to do any sort of public speaking. Like it was just an absolute nightmare, really. But years later, I worked so hard at it because I had like a mentor, really. And it was someone who took notice, who really wanted to get to know me and like kind of, help with that. And I kind of wanted to give back. So getting up on stage is really, that's hard. That's hard for anyone, really, these days. There are people that they're just really uncomfortable. They think no one's going to want to hear me talk about whatever at a conference or anything. And it was kind of like a way to like encourage people to do it, really. I mean, because if you did it once or did whatever, I mean, you could get your own card and be like, look, I did it, and it's like this pride kind of thing of you're part of this community then. So yeah, I made those cards, and they were a big hit at was it Midwest University 2019, I believe I launched them. Gosh, that's so long ago. Yeah, so I don't know where the last few months went. I'm sorry. Like it just the concept of time is gone. The pandemic, but yeah. So I launched those. Very very successful. Like people really liked it. They started making their own. There's a way to make your own for gosh, what is it, like $10 or something on the Tops website? I forget the price. It's like the cost of a couple cups of fancy coffee, really.
Really?
Yeah, you can make your own, upload a photo, put whatever stats you want, and then you order whatever 20 of them, 40 of them. They come in like a little plastic case, and you can hand them out. It's pretty sweet. So yeah, the whole thing, it was just, I find that public speaking, since it was so hard for me years ago, like growing up, it was like, it turned it into like a mission, and then it just turned into like something really cool in the end. And I mean, who doesn't want their own playing cards? I mean, I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah.
That is cool. And it gets people to go around the conference to ask for the trading cards
Yep.
and meet new friends.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yep. I've gotten a few cards from a few others who have made their own. I mean, they thought it was great. I mean, especially the ones who were trying to speak at conferences for the first time. Like, they were the ones doing the cards, and so it was really sweet to see. So, I mean, I even brought them to like, there's some girls in STEM events that I've gone to for work, and I've brought them there as well, because they're like high school age, middle school age. They're at the same age that I was at when I was terrified of public speaking and thinking there was like nothing left for me, really, going forward. So they're at that impressionable age, where they think like everything's terrible, and life will be over. But no, like that, I brought them there and they like that too. I mean, I just think I think it's great, really. So that's kind of what I got.
It is great.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I think it's a great way to, like you say, promote yourself. I had fabulous luck with the sticker route, making some stickers and passing them out. It's a way to give back, as you say, and to get people to come say hi and to give you a reason to go say hi. And I think the hockey cards, the business cards, the speaking cards are just another extension of that, and it's just a way to get, to meet. And I've had a similar experience with my time as a speaker. It really opens up a bunch of doors, and it's not like that's why you do it, but just from doing that, you make connections, you meet people, you run into things like podcasts and things like that. And it's really the friends and the connections that you make that not don't help you next week, but 18 months or 3 years down the road that you remember. Oh yeah, I remember that conversation. So I think that's a great idea. The cards, and just you mentioned STEM. I always get it wrong, but the idea of having something to give back to those that you're doing with the girls in STEM, to encourage them to not only come into the AAC industry and those sort of fields they're not usually in, but to show them what you can get from that. So I think it's great.
Yeah, the kind of opportunities you get from really putting yourself out there, it's amazing. Like, the kind of stuff that I've been able to do in my career, like there's people who only knew me from what I posted on Twitter, what I post on LinkedIn, and they invited me to be like co-speakers with them at Autodesk University. So like, they didn't know me like personally. So like, we got to like spontaneously collaborate on the fly in person for the first time at conferences. And it's just like, it's just from putting yourself out there, and it's just like one door open, another door open, another door open. So it's amazing what can happen if you try to put yourself out there in one way, and you do stuff that's scary, and it turns out to be great, and then you do another thing that's scary, and then you just keep going, and now here I am on a podcast. This is amazing. I did one, what was it, a few weeks ago, and now this is my first one where I didn't have any questions, like pre-questions. So this is a little scary, but I think I'm okay. I'm surviving. I'm still living. It's awesome.
That's right. Well, this is more of a conversation than a question answer session.
Yeah, you're right.
This is to learn about you and then ask you questions about yourself, and because you know you the best.
Yeah.
Well, and getting to know you a little bit, and I feel like a little bit of an internet stalker, but it seems like in addition to your website, and I'm like, oh, what a great way to spend quarantine is with a website. But it also looks like you are a fantastic, well, I guess you could refer to it as a sketcher,
Yeah.
right? You can draw magnificently.
Thanks.
But also you do something pretty regularly. It looks like weekly, Makeover Monday.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because that's super interesting.
Yeah, so with that, that's kind of like it's a data visualization exercise that the data science community puts on. So basically every week a data set gets posted on the Makeover Monday website, and everyone just kind of like takes their fair shot at trying to visualize it. And the whole point is to try to like improve upon an existing visualization that is already out there. So it's like you're trying to improve upon what's there, because turns out things like pie charts and stuff, that community, they really don't like that, because it's really hard to see like all those little angles. If you have like 50 pieces, it's like, is this one bigger than this one? Like what, so you try to do different ways to visualize the data to get the insights across. So that's one of the ways. Other ways, you can get into like color choices. Not many people realize, but there's people that experience forms of color blindness. So like if you have certain colors together, like they won't be able to pick things apart or anything. And so it really changes your perspective of like, I want them to be able to gain this kind of insight. So I want to pay attention to this here, So there's that, there's contrast, there's things you can do with text. I believe they call it data to ink ratio, where it's really, it's like you're trying to not have text and like just so much stuff everywhere to look at. You're trying to make it as clean as possible. So it's like an art and a science, really. So that whole Makeover Monday thing, it's like a weekly exercise of trying to do things like that. And you end up making some cool visualizations in the process. And you end up learning a lot of different topics too, because I mean, we don't pick the topics, it's the organizers who do it. So anytime it gets to like sports, I have like no clue, and I'm like, okay, here's some insights about cricket, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
So what's been your favorite topic? Because it does look like they range really, really like across the gamut.
I think some of my favorite ones, some of them, I mean, they actually were like personal data topics that kind of branch off from one of them that get posted. So one of them I did was I analyzed the music of Elton John. Big surprise, full circle there. So basically what that is like I looked at the different aspects of the songs that he had in his greatest hits album, one of them anyway, and it was looking at like the different like pitches, like how happy the song was sounding, like when it was made, the popularity, and I plotted it all on like a musical staff. Essentially, I made it look like a musical staff, and I visualized like all these different aspects of his music, and I found that great because music and movies I love. It kind of permeates into everything I do. Other ones that I really liked, I analyzed information from there's like building permits, building data, and everything for construction in New York City, or different neighborhoods of it from like the last 200 some years I visualized. So that one, I took that data. I was able to do a bunch of like I had like a map, and I plotted out like where all the buildings were located over time, and I made it an animated chart. It showed like where everything was popping up over time. It showed information about the landmarks. It showed like how tall the buildings were, that sort of thing. And the entire dashboard, I made it look like a New York Times newspaper kind of thing. So you can do stuff like that in Tableau. It's pretty fun. So those are my two favorite topics. They kind of spin off of the Makeover Monday stuff, but yeah, like music and construction stuff, those tend to be like my favorite kind of topics.
I like the one happiness around the world. Sounds
Yeah.
super cheesy, but that's just so amazing, like to see that kind of laid out data wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's lots of ways of going about it. That's part of the fun on that. You almost create like an experience, for someone to see it. So it's more than just like here's some charts, like you're trying to say like who's the audience, like how can I best show this, how can I best inform. You're trying to think of like what the purpose of what you're even doing, and that's what I find fascinating, really. It's like you're trying to inform, you're trying to persuade, sometimes it's just pure art. I've seen some beautiful ones that it's just like like a whole spiral kind of graph, and it looks like something you just print off and put on your wall, really. But lots of purposes. It's pretty neat.
Looking at the squirrels right now.
Oh yeah, that one was like my first one, so please don't hate me on that.
I'm not hating you.
I was
The
like,
one
I
I
figured
really
out what I was
like is 98.
Yeah. There's a lot of different ones I've done over time on that.
98 is really good. The one on the remote working, I guess. Because I can see how I can apply this kind of a visual to our Revit project matrix.
Yeah. Hmm.
And what I particularly like about this is the text that you have on the right side that explains it, what it is.
Oh, yep. There's like a different like you can do like some people they use like PowerPoint. I use like a text generator. Basically, like you put it in the font kind of style that you want, and then it creates like an image and you put it on there because Tableau, for whatever reason, if you use fonts that aren't standard, it can just look just really jacked up once you post it. So,
Yeah.
that's kind of why I do that. But there's like something to be said about like the title, like doing something like that, and it draws people in. So that's one of the techniques that you can do with that. So, yeah, that was one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's really good because I'm already seeing how I can make this with Revit and the clarity data that we get and how I can get all that to work. Such as getting the text, I could put that into a database. So if it's between this and this percent, show this text and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah, you try to make it really dynamic. I once
Right.
made like a resume actually with that, and I made it tie to Google Sheets. And so once I update a number there, because that is tied to Tableau Public as like a source, it then kind of like pings it and updates. So whenever possible, try to make it be like the actual thing, not like static text, really.
Right.
So that's what can make that update. So I've done some neat stuff where I can make it update all the time. I mean, I've made ones where it was like time tracking stuff where that was some sort of Google Sheets that had some sort of code stuff in the background. So it'd like time track things that I was doing at work. And then I did some fun stuff where it was like a holiday weekend. And so like I created a task that was like I was up north, I was at the cabin and I was on a inflatable flamingo and I put that as a task on there. So it showed up as pink and it said, you spend 2 hours on the task called flamingo. And so it all linked up. It was great.
Well, who wouldn't want to spend 2 hours on a pink flamingo?
I know, right?
Right.
It was huge. Like no one can tell you what to do when you're on one of those. Like you're just there and it's zen.
They can tell you what to do, but you can choose to ignore them.
Exactly. You just say, I didn't hear you. I'm on a flamingo.
I'm on a flamingo. Yeah, don't be a hater because you want to be on a flamingo too.
Yep. Exactly. So there's lots of stuff you can do and you connect up the things like that and you can make them update. Google Sheets just happens to be what I have done right now, but yeah, you could connect it up to Revit or whatever on that. And that's the beauty of those things, to make them very usable, like have them update, have them be things that people explore, have them be informative. That's really kind of like the key to having like these dashboards and stuff actually be used after the fact. Otherwise, they just don't get used and all that. So yeah, that's one of the ways to do it.
Very cool. I'm excited. This is neat stuff.
Probably not what you were expecting to hear, huh?
Well, I go into these conversations cold because when I do a lot of research, I end up going way too far down a rabbit hole that the guest doesn't want to go down.
Sure.
So that's why that, and I'm lazy, which is probably the main reason.
But then it gives us this nice conversationally workflow, which I really like as well, because we find out things like the little nugget about making an image of the text that you want so that the text doesn't go wonky. I'm going to use that too.
Right. Make an image of it and make sure you make the image a PNG, Carl, not a JPEG.
Yes, so that no background.
Well, not the no background. You don't get all of the artifacts from the compression.
Oh. See, I just knew that PNG is what you should pick, but I didn't know the reason why. And see, now Bill
Yes.
is dropping the knowledge on us.
Like something. Like I don't know.
Well, I didn't know that part either. This is news I can use. Really.
That's right. So PNG for graphics, JPEG for photographs.
Huh. Well, all
Yeah.
right then. How about that?
How about that? See? You learn something new every time you listen to BIM Thoughts.
I agree. I've listened to a few of the episodes. I last listened to Melanie Stone. That one was great. That well, obviously, I made the sketch. Clearly, I listened to it.
Yes.
So, so that was good. I love learning. I love kind of gaining those insights from the industry, and that's kind of why I do those sketches, because
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting stuff, and I'm all about trying to like communicate those insights. And so doing the sketches was like that's like a way that, well, I mean, it seemed to resonate with a lot of people. They like it, so why not, you know? So that's really why I love to learn. I love to try to like share those insights. It's really awesome to me when I can like connect up insights of like what other people say, and then like I can find those connections, because there's people that know their parts really really well, but maybe they don't know how they connect. So I'm the one who likes to live in the gaps. So that's why I've got kind of that hodgepodge kind of role at work. I specialize in the gaps essentially.
Really? Not the clothing store though.
Yeah, no, not that. No, different gaps.
So I feel like there's a lot going on with data right now. I mean, with the, like you said, the Tableau and the Power BI, a lot of people are getting into these types of programs. Data visualization, data analytics, definitely becoming a huge topic. What do you
Mhm.
think is the next big thing in data?
Ooh, well, there's one thing I'm pretty excited about with predictive data. So I've been following these guys. It's RS Means with Gordian. I don't know if you've ever seen anything, but basically they're doing like predictive data where they're trying to help people predict construction costs on their projects. And so they took like, boy, it was like 10 billion data points over like 15 years of time, and they were able to like do some sort of machine learning kind of thing to come up with like this data model where people can predict construction costs on their like square foot takeoffs and stuff. And it was like within 3% accuracy, and like predicting stuff like 3 years in advance. I actually, boy, I just said that all from memory. That's insane. That's how much I like these guys. But I find that as being kind of like the next kind of thing, because it's kind of like it's like changing the game a bit, really. I mean, rather than using like whatever data from the past, you're trying to like predict stuff in advance with that. So I think that's kind of like the next kind of deal. I don't know a ton about it other than the things I just said. But I mean, I find that fascinating, really, because it's just there's so many factors involved in what can affect like the pricing of like materials and all that kind of stuff. And some markets or some materials, they can be affected by certain different things, you know. And it's like, I don't know, I feel like they took something crazy and they tried to make it possible. So I think something like that might be maybe the next kind of deal. That at least I hope so. I think it's neat.
I agree. Or as an architect's supposed to say is, I take no exception.
No,
Yeah.
it's just like generative design, right? If we can have
Right.
predictive analytics and predictive data and all those
Mm-hmm.
different those things, I think all of those feed into each other.
Right. And now we have generative design in Revit, which I haven't played with yet. Unless Dana, you've figured it out already.
I haven't figured it out. I feel like I've been doing way too many things related to BIM 360 lately,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
sadly,
We're living the BIM 360 dream, aren't
if you want to call it a dream.
If you want
Working
to
from home is pretty dreamy, but you guys did that before, so
we? Well,
it's
it's
not
difficult.
fair.
It's
Yeah,
difficult.
I like working from home, really. I like
I
it.
love it.
Yeah,
I'm
this
all
is the
about it.
holiday for me.
I was chatting with my friend the other day and I referred to it as the longest snow day ever.
The
Yeah.
longest snow day. I looked at the calendar yesterday and thought, holy crap, it's already September. And then I realized it was 2020.
Yeah, the time is flying by. I mean, really, like, for me, a few days a week for a little over a year now, but obviously now it's full time with the pandemic and stuff. I mean, it's been basically like a holiday for me as an introvert. Even the social distancing stuff that we end up doing in person, like, I already kind of did that before the pandemic, so like it just didn't change. Like, my life didn't change, is what I'm saying. So I'm having a great time at home. I love working remote. Some of my favorite projects I've done, it's with people who are already in different states and countries. So it's been a non-issue. So I love it, really. But yeah, I lose the concept of time. I sent my kids to daycare in shorts and t-shirts still, and I'm like, I didn't switch anything out. The months changed, and I didn't do it. Minnesota, they're the whole seasons. It's like it changes like really rapidly. Sometimes you can get like all 4 seasons in like a day. So yeah, it's nuts.
That is nuts. We don't get that here in Las Vegas. It's either hot or cold. And there's 2 months out of the year where it's
I've
perfect.
been there for AU, and it's been so dry there. Like, I just well, the thing is, like, well, the first couple times before I got smart with it, yeah, like, it would be so dry that my hair would just kind of go everywhere, and I was using like lotion in the hotel room to like keep it down. It was just so bad. So the Midwest U, it's been here in Minnesota. That's where it's been hosted. And so there's like people who like come in from out of state and everything, and they would ask me like, oh, what kind of like, how should I plan for this? And I'm like, bring a parka, also sandals. I don't know, like it could be snow, it could be like who knows what, and yeah, it really could, like, because it takes place, or is supposed to take place, March, like it's like end of March. Like, that's the most like just catch all every season ever, month ever. It really is kind of like that for like a few months, and then you hit June and all of a sudden it's like, I don't know, 90 or something, and then like I don't know anymore. Oh yeah, it's definitely you don't want to have a wedding during like March through June, essentially, because you just don't know what you're gonna get. So
All right. I am going to give the honors of final thoughts to Carl.
Final thoughts, Bill. You're
Yeah,
given the honors. I'm honored.
you should be.
Well, I am. I really think that it's nothing earth-shattering that I have for my final thoughts, so I'm going to disappoint everybody.
Oh,
But I've just found a lot of really useful stuff from this episode. Tableau, there's a free version. The
yeah,
cute little trick about having your text as an image, and that
yeah.
needs to be a PNG. Thanks for that, Bill.
Uh-huh.
And then the idea that in the future we're going to have more in-depth data, that have that
Yeah.
intelligent data, all of this good stuff. So I would give this podcast 10 out of
all
10.
right.
Would listen again.
Well, what about you forgot one of the other things that we picked up? Or maybe you weren't paying attention.
That the weather changes rapidly in Minnesota.
No, you can go to Tops and get your own
Yep, that
baseball
is also
card
true.
made.
That's true. Hockey card though.
Hockey card, baseball card, sports ball card.
Nice.
Nice. Dana, Carl, Jisell, thank you so much for joining us today on BIM Thoughts.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank
Jisell.
you for having me. This was really great. I mean, there was probably like a list of like 5 things I could have done, but this was the top of the list.
Nice.
Well, if you think of 5 things you could have done, then we'll have another episode.
All right.
All right?
Thank you guys.
You're welcome.